Okay guys, let's start. So we are in target costing. I had given you some questions to do by yourself, expecting that you must have read it once and marked all the key sentence or key words. Keeping this just ticked will not help you. So what you should do is always write some key notes over here once you have read it. So question 1 we had done in class in DJB. Question number 2 I have asked you to do by self, which was a very easy straight case study question. Then question 3 will be done by you later in different chapter. Then question 4 was again a self study question where 2 paragraphs were required, one for value analysis, another for functional analysis, and third for reference. In reference conclusion, it is written that this company will have more use of value analysis than functional analysis because they are using this analysis on chair, and chair does not have much of different varieties of functions. Okay, so this line is written over here. So now I will do with you question number 5 and question number 6. Alright, so let's begin. Question number 5 and question number 6. This question 5 is also there in November 20 examination. This same question has come in November 20 exam. Storewell Industries Limited manufactures standard heavy-duty steel storage racks for industrial use. Each rack is sold for $750 each. The company produces 10,000 racks per annum. Relevant cost data per annum are as follows. We have budget, actual, and then actual cost per annum. So by dividing actual cost by this actual, we will get actual rate. Material cost, labor cost, setup, and assembly. Assembly is a function where maybe they are joining some pipes or sheets to give it the form of a rack. The actual and budgeted operating levels are the same. What does this mean? You write here, this means that actual output is equal to budgeted output. Next, actual and standard rates of material procurement and hourly labor rate are also the same. So actual rate of material and labor rate are also same. That means actual rate is equal to standard rate. So how will I get actual rate? I know actual cost divide by actual quantity will give me actual rate. So that is only standard rate. For budget, you see this quantity is given, rate is not given. So budgeted rate will be same as standard rate. Any variance in cost is solely on account of difference in material usage and hours required to complete the production. Normally we have two variants, one is rate, another is usage, if you remember. Since here rate and actual rate and standard rate are same, we can say rate variance will be nil. Then there will be no rate variance. So of course the variance will be only due to material usage, and hours required means efficiency variance. Aggressive pricing from competitors has driven down sales. A comparable rack is available in the market for Rs 675 each. Our price is 750. Comparable rack is available in 675. Vishal, the marketing manager, has determined that in order to maintain the company's existing market share of 10,000 racks, Storewell Industries must reduce the price of each rack to 675. So what is going on is this 10,000 racks price has to be reduced to 675 in order to maintain this sales. So first question is, calculate the current cost and profit per unit and identify the non-value added activities in the production process. So what is given, that the company is manufacturing racks, selling price is 750, actual cost and budgeted quantity is given, budgeted rate is equal to actual rate, so budgeted cost can also come. AO is equal to BO. This means that this same detail is applicable for BO as well as AO. Actual detail is always for AO, okay, but budgeted detail in general, whenever we see this column in any other question, it represents for its own output, which is we call as budgeted output, but here AO is equal to BO, so this same detail is supposed to be for AO. Okay, so budgeted on the basis of budget, for actual output this quantity should be used. You remember there are two items called as budgeted quantity for budgeted output and another is we call as standard quantity for actual output. How do you get from budgeted for BO to standard for AO? How do you get this? Budgeted for BO, how do you use this budgeted for BO to get standard for AO? So usually this is supposed to be changed in unitary method for AO, but here it is equal. In this sum it is equal. Why? Because budgeted output is equal to actual output. So budgeted quantity for BO is equal to standard quantity for AO. So this is given. Question is saying first find out current cost and profit per unit. Current cost means actual cost. These are your actual cost for 10,000 racks. So add it up and divide by 10,000, and profit per unit will be your selling price is given. So selling price minus cost will give you the profit. So tell me the answer please. Current cost 20 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 30 lakhs and 1.5 divided by 10,000. 615 aa hai. It's coming 615. Then profit per unit will be from 750 subtract 615. This is coming 135. Okay. Then there is a question here, identify the non-value added activities in the production process. Non-value added activities in the production process. So here it is asking just to identify the non-value added activities. If you see clearly, there are only two activities here. So out of this, which is non-value adding? See, assembly is a part of process. Without assembly, your product won't exist. But with setup is something that you are doing in order to make the process ready for production. Okay, so setup is actually here non-value adding, because customer is not worried about how much time you take to make your machines ready to produce. Okay, so main non-value adding activity here is setup. Without setup also, production can be done by having a different kind of process which doesn't require setup. Usually setup is required when maybe the company is producing different products from the same machinery, then setup is required. When do we require setup? When the company is producing different products from same machinery. So after producing one product, it will now change its configuration to produce another product. Okay, so setup is something that is because of your nature of process, but it doesn't mean that everyone will have setup. if you can upgrade your process, if you can have a dedicated set of machine, you don't need setup every time. Okay, and setup is only non-value adding here, which has nothing to do with actual processing. So you have to see that whether this can be eliminated or this can be minimized. Maybe that your system is such that it can never eliminate setup, but it is possible to minimize it. How you will minimize it? You can increase the batch size. If in one batch you are producing 1000 racks, you can produce 2000 racks, so number of setup will reduce, so accordingly setup time will reduce. So that way we have to think. So this was something unique here. Usually if you have not done this sum, this doesn't get clicked, that which will be my non-value adding activity. Next question is saying, what is the new target cost per unit for a sale price of rupees 675 if profit per unit is maintained? So target cost means target price minus target profit. Okay, so target price is equal to 675 and target profit is equal to 135. Price is given 675, profit they want to maintain, so 675 minus 135 is equal to rupees 540. Okay, now question is asking, recommend what strategy Storewell industry should adopt to attain target cost calculated in 2 above. So recommend strategy. First you should identify what is my cost gap. My current cost is 615 and my target cost is 540. So 615 minus 540 is equal to 75. 615 minus 540 is equal to 75. Okay, so if this is 75, that means you need to reduce this gap now by applying certain value reduction, or sorry, not value reduction, cost reduction techniques. While doing that cost reduction, your value should never get affected, never get impacted. This you have to remember. Interestingly, you know, what you love to do is this calculation. You like to do this calculation, and what you don't like is to write this recommendation. And in exam what happens, you know, this will come for say 4 marks, this will come for 6 marks. Or if you will see November 20 paper, this has come for 10 mark and this has come for 10 mark. Gone. So you need to get yourself comfortable with all this recommendation part, because that will usually comprise of your 50% marks. So what recommendation will write? Now pay attention. The first recommendation that we will give is about our something new which you usually skip if you have not done this question, is about this material usage and hours required variance, which must be existing here. As you can see, the quantity which was supposed to be used is given and the quantity actually used has been given. If this could have been curtailed in actual, we would have saved some cost, right? So first working, what you can do is material usage variance. Now please calculate usage variance. It is supposed to be standard quantity for actual output. Here our budgeted is only equal to standard quantity for actual output because BO and AO is same, which is 5 lakh square feet minus actual quantity 5,20,000. Difference in quantity should be multiplied by standard rate. Ideally, difference in quantity should be multiplied by standard rate. Okay, but here standard rate is equal to actual rate. So let's find actual rate. 20 lakh by 5,20,000. See, I am solving here. I have already instructed you how to do it. Either do it by pencil over here with me, or you start writing in copy. That is the best way to do. You should not just make your DJB book clumsy like mine. Okay, I do here in order to save time. Had this been our regular batch, I would have solved with you in your exercise copy properly. Okay, so MUV, standard quantity for actual output minus actual quantity multiplied by actual rate is nothing but standard rate. So you solve this and you'll get the answer. 5 lakh minus 5 lakh 20 into 20 lakh divided by 5 lakh 20,000. You'll see that this is coming 76,923 adverse. Adverse why? Because we have used extra material. Since we have used extra material, it is adverse. Similarly, you find labor efficiency variance. Similarly, you please find labor efficiency variance. Just compare the hours and multiply it by standard rate. 90,000 minus 1 lakh. 90,000 minus 1 lakh into 10 lakh by 1 lakh. That is only the actual rate, 10 lakh by 1 lakh. So this is coming 90,000 minus 1 lakh into 10 is equal to 1 lakh adverse. Number 3. Next, number 3. Third, you can talk about this setup time, how it can be reduced by increasing the batch size, or some other kind of efficiency in production process, or maybe some kind of new way of producing. There can be different ways of producing, so that is the way to reduce setup time. So setup cost will be improved. Another, you should also write about how to reduce machine assembly cost. Assembly cost, if you will see, that's the highest cost element over here, 30 lakhs. So you can also write about machine assembly cost is comprising of the highest cost element among all. So there should be some ways to reduce its cost. It may be by thinking of how some steps can be combine some steps, or eliminate certain steps, so that the work can be done by lesser number of people in the assembly line. Lesser number of workers are required for assembly process. Okay, so this way you will be able to reduce our assembly cost. And fifth, you can again write about, you remember some questions that we were discussing in value analysis and engineering. Other ways can be, can we change the design to ease the production? Can we change the design that is easy to assemble? Can we change the design that requires lesser components? Can we substitute some parts? Is there any other way? Different questions, you remember? So some of them you can write over here. And marks distribution is pretty simple. See, if it is of 10 marks, 5 points you have given for 10 marks, and that's all for good scoring. So that's how you have to write. I hope you have understood the concern. That's how you have to write everything. Alright. So I will show you the entire working now. If you have written this in your exercise book with me, your sum is solved. If you have not written it, you should write along with me using your pencils. Okay. But whenever you get time, that is, I usually say right after the class, you should again fare it in your exercise copies. So first part is 615, 135. Okay. Then setup time does not add value. Alright, answer is matching. Third part, that means part 2 is 540, that you can see over here. And for recommendations, I have shown you 5 parts to the answer. So first is the cost gap, 75, and then if you will see, first part is material usage variance, second part is labor efficiency variance. They have also written one more line that if you follow this, they have rounded it off, okay. Then 7.7 per unit will be saved here, 10 rupees will be saved. Out of 75, 17 rupees you will save if you can control these inefficiencies. Then machine setup cost should be reduced. Okay, so You cannot sometimes eliminate setup, but you can just write about that if there can be any other way to actually reduce the setup time. So value analysis can be done to determine if setup time can be reduced, and assembly cost is almost half of the cost, so value analysis should be done in order to be more efficient with this. If maybe some process can be streamlined such that some steps can be combined, can be done by fewer people. Okay, and lastly, other questions can be designed better to make product more efficient, to make production more efficient, fewer parts, easy to manufacture, substitute parts, or is there any other way of producing the same product. So if you keep asking these questions, somehow you get the ways to reduce your cost. So there is one more very important line given here. While target costing is dynamic and corrective approach, care must be taken that the product quality, characteristics and utility are maintained. Care must be taken that the product quality, characteristics and utility are maintained. This you can write always in, every point that you are talking, wherever you are talking about cost reduction, in above lines also. So wherever cost reduction is being talked about, you can always say that we have to maintain the quality and functionality and characteristics. Okay. So now I am starting with our next question, question number 6. I am starting next with question number 6. Thank you all for your cooperation today. So we have next, Zen Limited forms a committee consisting of its production, marketing and finance directors to prepare a budget for the next year. The committee submits a draft budget as detailed below. Selling price 50, material cost per unit is 9, labor cost per unit is also 9. Variable overhead is 3 hours at the rate rupees to 6 rupees. So total is coming 9, 9 and 6, 24. Contribution per unit is 26. Budgeted sales quantity is 25,000 units. Budgeted contribution is 25,000 into 26, which is 6,50,000. Budget fixed cost is 5 lakh. Profit is 1,50,000. The management is not happy with the budgeted profit as it is almost equal to the previous year's profit. So this profit they are not satisfied with. So they ask the committee to prepare a budget to earn at least a profit of rupees 3 lakhs. To achieve the target profit, the committee reports back with the following suggestions. The unit selling price should be raised to 55. So current price is 50, we have to make it 55. Sales volume should be increased by 5,000 units. Current is 25,000, we have to make it 30,000. To attain the above said increase in sales, the company should spend rupees 40,000 for advertising. So from 5 lakh it will become 5,40,000. The production time per unit should be reduced. So production time currently is this variable overhead, if you will check, 3 hours. It should be ideally given in labor cost per unit, but now this is a basic thing that variable overhead always vary with labor hours. Okay, always vary with labor hours only. So this labor time also has to be 3 hours. Okay. So this needs to be reduced, but by how much, that is not given. To win the acceptance of the workers in this regard, the hourly rate should be increased by rupees 3 per unit. Besides an annual group bonus of rupees 30,000. So annual group bonus is a fixed cost because it is not a per unit cost. Annual group bonus is a fixed cost. So we will increase this fixed cost by another 30,000, 570 it will become. Now here the hourly rate should be increased by rupees 3. It should be written just like this, you know. There is some kind of misinterpretation with the per unit mention over here. This you should ignore. This has got nothing to do. Rupees 3 per unit. Hourly rate means hourly rate. When we will see the solution, you will find that they have ignored this per unit, and that is implied. When hourly rate is being said, it is just hourly rate. It doesn't make sense when it is written with per unit. Sometimes students get confused when per unit is also written. So currently if you see, rate is 9 by 3 hours is coming rupees 3 per hour. Currently if you see, rate is 9 by 3 hours is rupees 3 per hour, which they are saying that we have to make it as rupees 6 per hour. They are saying we have to make it as rupees 6 per hour. When we are increasing it by 3 rupees, it will be 3 plus 3, 6. There is no change in the amount and rates of other expense. That means variable overhead will continue at the rate of rupees 2. And material will continue at the rate rupees 9. Okay, this is not rupees 2 per unit, per hour. Okay, variable overhead, again there was this trick. Usually students tend to take same rupees 6 here. Rate is rupees 2. If hour will change, variable overhead will also get affected. Okay, here remember, rate is rupees 2. Rate is rupees 2. So rate will remain same. You cannot say that 6 rupees will remain same. So what they are asking is, as the implementation of, okay, another line is there, the company has sufficient production capacity. What does this mean? That since we are increasing capacity from 25,000 to 30,000, so there is enough capacity to accommodate that 30,000. As the implementation of the above proposal needs the acceptance of the workforce to increase the speed of work and to reduce the production time per unit, the board wants to know the extent of reduction in per unit production time. So this entire proposal can only be implemented when workforce reduces the time per unit. Okay, so the board wants to know the extent of reduction in per unit production time. So that means the idea is to find out the new production time. Instead of 3 hours, what will be the new time based on this revised working? Okay. So first question is only this one. Calculate the target production time per unit and the time to be reduced per unit. Usually we were finding target cost, right? What we were finding was target cost, which was target price minus target profit. So now what we need to find is target time. So target time will be what? Nothing but the time that can help you to achieve your desired results. When we say target cost, it helps us to achieve our target profit, desired result. So we want this target result to be achieved properly. So what is given here? Let us check once again. So they are saying that this is the current budgeted statement. Management is not happy, so it asks the committee to prepare a budget to earn at least a profit of rupees 3 lakh. So from this 1,50,000, what we want? 3 lakhs. Okay, profit will be 3 lakhs. So to achieve this, there are some suggestions. Selling price will be 55, so I made the new selling price 55. Advertisement cost 40,000, so I increase 5 lakhs to 540, and then there is group bonus of 30,000, so I increase 540 to 570. Then rate of worker is being reduced, is being increased by rupees 3 per hour, so new rate will be rupees 6 per hour. But the point is, what will be the time? So you can do some back calculation actually to get your result. So 3 lakh plus 570 is 870, divided by 30,000 is 29. I hope you are understanding how 29 has come. 3 lakh plus 570 is 870. 870 by 30,000 is 29 per unit. This is my desired contribution per unit. So if you will see a working, that contribution per unit should be is equal to, contribution per unit should be equal to selling price minus variable cost. So contribution desired is 29, selling price is 55, variable cost material is having the same rate of rupees 9. Okay, then we should subtract labor cost and variable overhead cost. For labor we know the rate, for variable overhead also we know the rate. Okay, don't take rate here as 6 rupees per unit, rate will be rupees 2 per hour, because hour is going to change here. So let that hour be x. So labor cost will be 6x and variable overhead cost will be 2x. Okay, so if instead of 3 hours we assume now the revised hours as x, so the new rate is 6, so this will become 6x, and here the rate is 2 only, so this amount will become 2x. So you can say 55 minus 9 minus 6x minus 2x is equal to 29. So can you tell me the answer of x? Yes, can you tell me the answer of x? 55 minus 9 minus 55 minus 9 minus 29 divided by 8, 17 by 8 is equal to 2.125. So this is the new labor time. From current 3 we have to reduce it to 2.125. So total time to be reduced is, target production time is 2.125 hours per unit. Time to be reduced will be minus 3 is equal to 0.875 hours per unit. 0.875 hours per unit. Okay. So what do we have next? Identify the other problems that may arise in production due to decrease in unit production time and also suggest the remedial measures to be taken. Now you love calculation, but you don't like this identification and comments, and as usual this will be of more marks than the calculation. So other problems, what can come due to decrease in unit production time? Any idea? Can you give some idea without reading the answer? What problem can come? When you start thinking of time reduction or cost reduction, there will be certain problems, and here what you have to talk about, the notes that I have given with you in previous session called as problems with target costing. If you remember, we had talked about certain problems are there with target costing. So one of the problem, if you remember, is employee dissatisfaction, because you are pushing your employees to reduce the time, even though you are increasing their wage rate, but still working in this lesser time can be very stressful. Second problem can be quality can get compromised. Third problem can be, say if they are unable to reduce this time instantly for the coming period, then your budget will not be achievable. So if you are allowing them more time and then you pass the budget, if you are allowing them, okay, you try, I'll give you some more time, then I'll approve the budget. So what will happen? This whole time reduction process may get lengthened process of time reduction. Sometimes time reduction is not achievable instantly. Okay, so these are some of the problems that is definitely there with target costing. And if you remember the remedial measures, there is only one remedy, which was strong team leader. Remember, who has got good knowledge of designs, interpersonal communication skills, and a commitment towards staying within the time and cost. So that is only the remedy for here. So usually what happens, we don't remember these, that's the problem, and there we lose marks. I will show you once again. You can open your FastTrack book. See this, problems with target costing. Lengthened employee dissatisfaction. Sometimes consensus is not achieved, high cost, quality, and problem can be solved with a strong team leader. So this was the question here. Okay, so I told you, no, you usually intend to write generalized answers, but that won't work. So this is only the new magic of your subject. Third question is most suitable situation for adoption of target costing, and this was also done with you in previous discussion. Most suitable is where the majority of the cost gets locked up in design phase. Remember this. So this answer needs to be written here, and all are worked upon here well. So you can refer this solution also. I have given you answer in brief here. You should practice it in your copy. Okay. So there is no as such stringent requirement of presentation now. It's just your ability to write. So you see 0.875, 2.125. Then this working is there. Then the problems is working under pressure. Okay. Unwanted pressure on design and its implementation stage. So they have written it in the form of story. You can always write in the form of bullet points. Okay, remedy is the good team leader. Sometimes we say if time is too short, you may right now continue with the existing budget for the time being, and later you can try out with some new cost reduction methods or less expensive materials to achieve the target cost. It's not that just time reduction is only way to achieve your goals. So this is one unique thing that we generally don't usually think over to write. If the time is too short to implement this, you can reject the proposal and still continue with the current. And target costing is most useful where the majority of product costs are locked in during the design phase. Now this part is optional. I don't think you should write about this because they have started talking about service environment. So this line, if I would have been student, I would have never written. Optional. No need of writing this entire paragraph. Okay. So this is fine. I wanted to do with you this November 20 question also. So you can just go to ICAI website and download November 20 paper. See, technology hiccup can always be there in any organization. Even today, the most shocking thing happened that Google is not working. Today, Gmail and all Google services got disconnected for some time. Now it is up, but it happened. Now they have resumed, but it happened like anything can happen, you know. Technology is somehow man created, so anything can happen. All right. So we are in our CA final November 20 question paper. Question number 2. Question number 2. Let's come to question number 2. NEC Furniture Limited is a leading manufacturer and supplier of furniture for students of pre-primary classes. The full cost of one set comprising one table and one chair is 900 per set. So they are supplying benches, kind of benches which are used in pre-primary classes, one set cost is 900. Now there is some ambiguity here, okay? Full cost of one set is 900 per set. This seems to be cost to the company, but factually you will see towards later part in this question that this is the selling price. The company has fixed its selling price so as to earn 30% return on investment of rupees 45 lakh. So this is their desired profit. You remember in target costing many times we earn our desired profit as a return on capital employed, which is our shareholders' desire in long term, that is 13.5 lakhs. Okay. The company produces and sells 6,000 sets per annum. Relevant cost data per annum are as follows. So these are cost data now. You see same pattern is given: budget, actual and actual cost per annum, material, labor, mechanical assembly and machine setup. So all these details are same way, the way we have already done. It has been revealed that the actual and budgeted operating levels are the same. So this means AO is equal to BO. Actual and standard rates of material purchase and labor rate are also same. This means actual rate is equal to standard rate. Any variance in cost is solely on account of difference in material usage and hours required to complete the production. Any variance that will be arising over here is not due to difference in rate, because rate is same, it's due to difference in usage and hours required, that means MUV and labor efficiency variance. So now competitor has also introduced a product very similar to product of the company at an aggressive price of 820 per set. So this means that we also need to cut our price, which has resulted in downtrend in the sales volume of the company. So because of this competitor, our sales volume has actually got reduced. The management has called urgent meeting of the marketing team. After the meeting, following recommendations of the marketing team are approved by this management. So after the meeting, what they have decided is to maintain the company's existing sales volume and amount of present return on investment. In order to maintain the volume and return on investment, we have to reduce the price by 10%. So what is our current price, that we need to first find out, and then we'll reduce it by 10%. Now in the question that we just did from our DJB book, there this part was not there, ABC was not there. Instead it was written there that since competitors have launched a product at rupees so and so, so we will also make the same price. In that question the price was same as competitors' price. Here we are creating our new price, which is price minus 10%. Next, to make slight improvement in design to have edge over the competitors, which will also reduce material cost by 30%. So there is new change in the design which will reduce our material cost by 30, and to make the table and chair more attractive, print picture of Disney character on them, which will cost rupees 5%. So we will print Disney characters, so extra cost of 5 will come into picture. So first question is, you see this is whole 20 mark question, and the part that you don't prefer is usually recommendation, which is of how many marks? 10 marks, and the parts that you prefer is only of remaining 10 marks. So calculate the present selling price and profit per unit from the above. So first working is that, and also a new thing that has been added is a simple thing, markup percent on full cost per unit. So you can do very easily present selling price and profit per unit. So in our working it was cost and profit, here selling price and profit. So let us find out total cost from here. Add up and tell me the answer. Add up and tell me the answer. 16 lakh 50, 1032, 12 lakh 168. So this total is coming 40 lakh 50,000. This total is coming 40 lakh 50,000. So this is our total cost divided by 6,000. Divide by 6,000 is our current cost, which is 675. Then profit, if you have seen 13.5 lakh from 6,000 units, it will be 13,50,000 by 6,000 divided by 6,000 is equal to 225 per unit. So if you add up this to current cost 675 with 225, what you are getting is 900. So what I told you, that there is some ambiguity in the question. Present selling price is coming 900, okay, but what is written here? Full cost of one set is 900. So this is some kind of ambiguous information. Maybe they wanted to say that the buyer needs to incur 900 rupees per set, because in actual cost 900 is not coming, it is 675 and our price is 900. Okay, so this is something where question writer may have confused itself with the language. So that doesn't create a big deal because it is so obvious to understand. Then profit per unit is 225, 13,50,000 divided by 6,000. Then they are asking markup percent on full cost per unit. So markup percent means profit percent on cost. Markup means profit, okay. So profit, you know, 225, and what is the full cost per unit? Your total cost per unit is 675. So 225 should be divided by 675, which is giving us 33.33%. Now somebody may always understand that, sir, full cost per unit means what? Is it that this full cost per unit has been referred here? We don't know, because if we understand from the information, we are understanding that this is selling price. So full cost is usually supposed to be your own total cost, and when we say markup, it has to be on your cost, it cannot be on selling price. Selling price is marked down to find out the profit, but cost is always marked up. So markup means you have to take on profit on cost. So we may tend sometimes to understand in this 225 by 900 optional, there may be possibility that some students are doing this because of language ambiguity in the question. So I don't know how much will be rewarded for this working or this working. I don't know the checking pattern, but ideal correct answer is 33.33%. Maybe that because of ambiguity, institute will award marks to these students also. I don't know about this. Anyways, identify the non-value added activities in the production process. So non-value added is just the setup activity. So just identification is required. Now many times you get puzzled, oh my god, 2 marks, how should I write? Just write the line. That one line is of 2 marks, not a problem. Third A is calculate the new target cost per unit and new revised cost per unit after implementation of our recommendation. So in recommendation it was said that the price will be reduced by 10%. So current price is 900. So now new price, revised selling price is coming 900 minus 10% is equal to 810. Okay. So new target cost is 810 minus our current profit. We have to maintain the same present return on investment. So return on investment is maintained by having profit of 225 per unit. So new target cost will be 810 minus 225. This is coming 585. 810 minus 225 is equal to 585. Alright. And then they are asking new revised cost per unit. Revised cost per unit. Current cost was 675. Because of the recommendation, they are saying that material cost will be reduced by 30. And there is a new cost of 5 rupees because of Disney character. So 675 minus 30 plus 5 is our new revised cost as per recommendation. 675 minus 30 plus 5 is coming 650. Okay. How much reduction in cost is required to achieve the new target cost? So cost reduction, how much is required? If you see, current cost is coming 650 and less target cost that we want to achieve is 585. So what will be the cost reduction? 650 minus 585 is 65 rupees. Now here when you are doing this, entire part 3 is based out of that recommendations. So you should not take the current cost here 675. You will take this current cost 650, which is after the recommendation. And since this is a continuation of part 3, so we will also assume that in part B they want us to continue with those recommendations. And now lastly, recommendation strategy, 10 marks, 5 points. You remember 5 points. First we will write about MUV, second we will write about LEV, third we will write about how to reduce setup, fourth we will talk about mechanical assembly, and fifth we will write about other ways. So that way we will cover all 5 points to get our 10 marks. So can you quickly help me to get MUV and LEV here? So MUV and LEV will be what? MUV. So MUV will be 90,000 minus 1 lakh multiplied by 16 lakh 50,000 by 1 lakh. You see the result, 90,000 minus 1 lakh into 16.5. So this is coming 1,65,000 adverse, and LEV will be same way, 35,000 minus 40,000 into 10.32 divided by 35. So 10.32 divided by 35 into 5,000, you'll get some answer over here. No, it should be divided by 40,000, my mistake. 35,000 minus 40,000 into 10.32 divided by 0.4. So this is coming 1,29,000 adverse. Okay, so 1,29,000 adverse is this one, and MUV is 1,65,000 adverse. Okay, so you can again convert this into per unit and say that the cost will be reduced by this much and that much, like 1,65,000 by 6,000 will reduce our cost by 27.5. 1,29,000 by 6,000 will reduce our cost by 21.5. Okay, so substantial cost can be reduced just by controlling MUV and LEV. So since just now we have already seen a similar question in our DJB, okay, so I am not talking much in detail, just I am saying it once again, that here the cost per unit will be 27.5, then here the cost per unit will be 21.5. so out of 65, if we just work on this two, we are able to save rupees 49. And for setup, you have to write that setup time should be reduced by doing some value analysis. Okay, assembly time is the most vital cost here, one of the vital cost here after your direct material. So it is having a significant cost, the assembly cost. So there should be some ways by combining certain steps, by reducing some number of workers in the assembly line. And whatever we do, we have to keep in mind that we should not compromise the quality and utility of the product. And the other ways will be what? Can we minimize the design to make it simple for production process? Can we minimize the design that uses lesser components? which is easier to produce, and is there any better way? So last question is always, is there any better way? All right. Okay, so I'm not elaborating this 3 point because these 3 points are there in your DJB book already. The same question has come in this November exam. So with this I have completed your target costing chapter. From my side, target costing is over. You need to study these theories well in order to be able to write your answers well. Okay. So I'll start with next chapter, life cycle costing, and for that I will first close this video and start in the next video. So you will go out of the application in the previous chapter, check the next chapter given in your app, life cycle costing, and go there, and this process will take me around 1 to 2 minutes. So I'll see you after 2 minutes. Okay, so you log out from here. That means you just go back to your life cycle costing chapter screen and find me there. I am completing this chapter. Okay, thank you so much.